First of all, congratulations. I mean, more than 50 years with Judas Priest and also being inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Wow. Next week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Why did it take so long for Judas Priest?
I don't know. I think I think heavy metal in general, I think, has been overlooked a little bit. And I think it's because it's not in your face all the time. It's not like a pop or rock. It's the sort of stuff you listen to on what used to be AM radios, mainstream media, I suppose. Now, when you walk, you're walking down the road, or you listen to radio, or you're in your car, you'll get that music all the time. And unfortunately, metal music, you have to go look for it. I think there's some of that in there, although it's getting more recognition these days. I think it's more mainstream than it was, I think. But I think that's probably the main reason that it wasn't. It always bubbles under the surface there.
Yeah. Which
sticks
sounds
his head up, sticks his head above the parapet every now and again.
which sounds crazy because you'd think metal music would be it's not well, it is mainstream, but it's still a little bit outlaw, because when you started, you were kind of, you got to live kind of the rock and roll experience back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we came over here, the first time I think it was 1977.
Yeah.
And we weren't really classed as heavy metal. Didn't really exist back then. You were sort of heavy rock.
Yeah.
And everything sort of merged into metal. I don't know, sometime about 1980 probably, when we were defined with British Steel. That was it. Everything was in place at that point. The music, the direction, and of course the image. But before then, I mean, we were still going on stage as satins and velvets, things like that. And then we came across the leather coats with the studs, and I thought that fits it perfectly. And it was metal from there on in, I suppose.
Because I know metal music in America and metal music in Great Britain, it seems like it's different, it's a different audience, or is it?
I think probably apart from a few notable exceptions, I think metal's probably more popular in America than it is in Britain.
Really?
Even on mainland Europe, metal's I would say more popular in Germany than in Britain. Obviously, there are exceptions to that. I mean, we're pretty popular. Of course, you've got the AC/DC, you've got Iron Maiden, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But there seems to be a bigger market for it in the States than there is in Britain.
So you probably spend more time in this country than you do in your native country. Because
we do. That's very true. Yeah. We do get criticism for that sometimes. But sometimes it's out of our control. A lot of this, but we do get criticised for it.
Hopefully not too much criticism. I hope not, at least.
No, not by the Americans anyway.
No, we like you here. But let's talk about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because I know KK said he might be participating, and that's a little bit different because he hadn't been involved with the band for like decades or a long time, right?
Yeah, it's been about 10 years, I think.
10 years.
10, 11 years since he left. And yeah, I mean, he had an immense impact on the band, Ken. He was there at the start with myself and Al Atkins, John Ellis. And so his induction is well deserved, as his Les thinks, And it's just a pity poor old Dave died, Dave Holland, the other drummer who was inducted. And he couldn't have experienced it, before he went. But such is life, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, Ken's, he's well worthy of the induction. He really is,
I agree, but I mean, the band has had so many great musicians, yourself included, and I mean, and it's gone through so many members, and all of them had impact on the Judas Priest sound.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
I mean, what's it going to be like for you? Because you're the only original member. What's it going to be like for you when you go up on stage for the induction ceremony? It's probably going to be bittersweet, or it's going to be, or once
Yeah, I think I think we'll all be feeling pretty much the same about it.
yeah.
I mean, these things come and go. We've been nominated before, we didn't get it, and things like that. And you shrug it off and think, well, I'm not that bothered about it, whatever. But when you're actually inducted, it shows that you've been recognised by your peers, and
Yeah.
it's different to being, like a fan or even a music critic, if it comes to that, coming along and saying, oh yeah, I like this, I really like it. Because the guys that induct you into something like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they know what it takes to do what you do. They're all musicians themselves, and they know it's the work that goes in. I mean, the incredible amount of work in some instances that they're going to producing. Well, that's that whole history of records and appearances and everything. They know what it takes. So it is special when you get recognised by your peers, and we're all excited to be part of that now.
Well, yeah. I mean, and I've been looking at your website. You keep a pretty busy schedule. I mean, you'll be working for a while.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is coming right in the middle of a tour. We've been to blow a couple of gigs out to make room for it.
I mean, is it still fun performing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the major reason we do it these days. We enjoy what we do, and that's never gone away. The excitement that we get out of doing it.
That sounds great. I mean, do you ever think of, will you ever retire?
Yeah, well, we're not stupid. We know we're not spring chickens anymore, and I think the major rule of thumb is that if we're putting on quality performances, we'll continue to do it. But if the performance starts to falter in some way, well, then it might be worth considering knocking it on the head and stopping on a high, rather than a slow peter out. I can't think of anything else than that.
Well, because you see, like Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, they keep on going. So
yeah, they do. That's very true. And I suppose we could do a similar thing. Um, leave it off for a year or two or whatever. And then do pick your dates and do a select tour of places like the Stones do. We could do that. But that's sometime in the future anyway. We'll think about it more when we get there. Until one of us drops like
that. So who do you listen to? I mean, you're a musician, plus you're probably a music fan. Who does Ian Hill listen to when he wants to relax, or when he wants to get revved up? I don't know.
It very much depends on what mood I'm in. I mean, I have a completely eclectic musical taste.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a boy, I was brought up with jazz everywhere. My dad played jazz bass, double bass, and jazz bands, and dance bands at the time. So I was brought up with Lionel Hampton, and Oscar Peterson. That's what I was listening to when I was a lad. So I still have a love for jazz music. I really do. And of course, blues. My big my big influence was the old blues players. Really, it actually got me into playing what I do. The John Mayalls, Cream, of course, Hendrix, of course, Fleetwood Mac and Free and things like that. Those are my influences. And to be honest, that's the sort of thing I listen to now. I sometimes listen to some of our own songs as well. Of course, that just brings back memories as well, and you can take it back to the time where that was recorded or the time where you played it live. So the answer to the question probably is what I've been listening to for the past 50 years.
That's fine. That's a good answer. I'm just trying to think. I think what I need for the story. I mean, you're going to be in town in a couple of days. I'm going to see you in town, before we know it.
Great. Oh, excellent. Oh, yeah. You'll enjoy it.
And I've always been a fan of yours and of Judas Priest. So I'm a kid of the 80s. So yes, you're part of my childhood. So
Excellent. Good man.
Thanks again for the memories and for the music, and I'll see you in Sioux City.
Okay. Yeah. We look forward to getting there. Yep.
Mm.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Anytime.
Thanks.